Warning, this episode of NYDOMEDIA talks about a show that presents graphic scenes and coarse language. None will be showed in this episode, but watch it at your own risk. Commence the goofs, gaffs, and laughs.
No!
Now, some people may not know what Black Mirror actually is, so I'll give you the scoop. Black Mirror is an anthology series, meaning each episode tells a new story, kind of like The Twilight Zone or Alfred Hitchcock Presents. It's a British show, originally airing on Channel 4 before it was later purchased by the big end to the Netflix. For a premise, well, each episode deals with one thing, technology. All of them are set in an alternate modern timeline with the exception of Bandersnatch and a couple of others. I won't be going episode by episode, like with My Life at the Muppets, though I will be ranking them. I'll be bringing up an aspect of the show and pulling details from some episodes. So to start, let's talk ideas. Black Mirror gets a bad rap sometimes for being, how should I put this without being too funny? A boomer? Yeah, settle down. In all honesty, it kind of is. Of course, it's a show on a web streaming service, so let's get one hypocrite born on the board, am I right? Yeah. This show's main idea is the dangers of technology, and that doesn't have to be a funny boomer joke. We all know that technology is a great thing that allows us as a species to do so much more than we ever could have, but that's not to say that it can't also be a hazard. Think about how much we use our mobile phones, some more than others, but we still use them quite a bit. Desktop computers as well, don't get me wrong, I love me some Badlands chugs, but when is it too much? Well, Black Mirror gives us a look at what reality would be like if technology came to a certain point. Some episodes are more grounded in reality than others. The one that comes to mind is the very first episode, the national anthem. While it was 2011 when it came out, it still gives us an idea of how technology can really be used to ruin people's lives. I won't specifically give the plot details because, well, let's just say it's not epic bacon. Now that joke was NYDOMEDIA rare. Can I get that with a side of blue cheese? Yeah, I don't want to say the plot, just watch the episode, but be warned. It is MA rated, so don't be viewing if you're gonna be spewing, aight? The national anthem was the perfect way to start the series, fulfilling the series' main ideas while acting as a sort of diversion. I say that because the next episode established the other thing these episodes can be set in: dystopian futures. 15 million merits more gives a representation, a food for thought of what life would, with weight shaming, oversized companies, and stardom looks like through a different lens. That lens being an odd dystopian reality. All of these episodes offer a real-life problem by proposing something we think is outrageous, like the pig episode, or Boston Dynamics robots going rogue, or social media taking over everyone's lives. Oh, I get that one now. So yeah, if you want to look at the show as funny Chungus Keanu wholesome 100 mega boomer funny gumbo, it beats someone right. I feel that the best example of taking a new idea and making it grounded and real is in my favorite episode, The Entire History of You, excluding Bandersnatch. It takes something original and non-existent, in this case the grain, and uses it to talk about something very real. Everyone has a grain. Grain records everything you see, keeping it all in a database. You use a little remote to scroll through your catalog of memories. You get the picture. Obviously, the grain isn't a real thing, but it's meant to represent smartphones. Everyone has a phone, and they record anything as easy as 1, 2, 3. The whole episode is about this guy suspecting that his wife is cheating on him, in turn ruining his marriage and his life. That's a somewhat recurring idea. New technology, real problems. Where Black Mirror can fall apart is when the technology is too outrageous. This appears to happen in the later seasons, especially the most recent. Striking Vipers. Sure, VR is a real thing, but I'm almost gonna guarantee that this is not how it's gonna advance. And, oh boy, Rachel, Jack, and Ashley too. I'll be getting into this one later, but to me, some of the simplest and grounded in reality ideas have given the best results, this being the first and third episodes. Black Mirror is at its best when its main ideas parallel reality. All in all, the ideas this show brings aren't funny baby boomer generation, more like the electronic cautions of the alternate now. Despite it being an anthology, let's look at some specific standout characters. Where we've usually started, let's continue with the national anthem. Prime Minister Michael Callow is an odd character. He's very real, but there's something I just can't put my finger on. He's so reluctant to porking the pork, biting the bacon. Even though I thought I heard them say that it could have been for any length, he still bites that bacon for a little over an hour. It's gotta be some chewy bacon. Or how about that next episode, 15 Million Merits? Bing is a troubled guy in the facility, and we learn at the end that he truly does not understand this jarring reality and why everyone wastes their merits on junk. He's played by Daniel Kaluuya, or of more recent Get Out and Black Panther fame, and he does such a great job of acting, like he just mixed up yogurt and mayo in his sandwich. Did you know that Jordan Peele actually cast Kaluuya for Get Out because of his rant at the end of this episode? Wowee! Skipping to White Bear, I won't spoil anything, so I'll just refer to her as the woman. She's understandably imploding on the inside. I feel my favorite part of that was the fact that the episode moves fairly fast to start, yet even 3/4 into the episode, she still barely knows at all what is going on. That kind of ruins the amnesia stories like that for me, as usually the characters start to remember too quickly. In the spirit of moving quickly, let's go to Nosedive. Bryce Dallas Howard of Jurassic World fame does such a good job acting, like she's trying to act super nice. And then when she gives up and her ratings drop to 0, she gets even better. The whole idea of basing your entire life on a rating system is yet a technological substitute to the social hierarchy. Shut Up and Dance makes me feel gross. It's just a gross feeling episode. Our main guy's name is Kenny, and oh, do you know what I gotta do now?
Hey man.
Dude, dude, what is wrong with you? Dude, I can't believe you. What is, you are the scum of this planet. I cannot believe you. This is impeccable.
Man, I hate that guy. Anyway, Black Mirror Kenny is a loser who downloaded some anti-malware program to get the laptop better again. After watching the entire episode, you'll agree with me 100% that Kenny is awful. But that doesn't mean the episode is bad. Well, not my favorite, and still offers some pretty good concepts. But... And only one other thing. Jodie Whittaker in the entire history of You. Just grand. Woo! Woo! Enough with going episode by episode, let's talk generally. Every time I watch an episode, I can't imagine the characters being played by anybody else. Because it's a British show, they tend to choose British actors, or at least they used to. Even if I don't know the actor, they just always seem to fit. That being said, Miley Cyrus. I've had enough of these dang stories, let's talk production! I may just be a boy, but I know what I think looks good. And Black Mirror looks pretty good. Each episode is filmed great, but I mean, duh. The one time I remember a shakeup was from the incredible episode Metalhead. Now, Metalhead is special. Take a look at this. It's in black and white, of course, but that's no overlay. No, the entire episode was filmed in black and white. I think I remember a little while ago I was looking on some Black Mirror subreddit or whatever, when I saw someone ask if we might see a full color version of Metalhead. Firstly, who wants a full color version of Metalhead? Second, there is no full color version of Metalhead. It's one of the most visually interesting episodes, while sadly being the shortest episode so far. The visual effects are also amazing too. Dogs are incredibly intricate and modeled to a letter T. The visual effects in all episodes, if used, are also really great. Let's trail back to 15 Million Merits with the big screen box room thingies. Of course, modeling had to be done for the baubles, and all the shots with the rooms were digital, but most everything else is actually practical. The big screens, yeah, they were real. When the swiping action was done, somebody off-screen had a clicker to change what happened. Every scene takes place in one set, just swapped depending on the room. Some of the best episodes have almost nothing except the actual film, ergo, be right back. While other episodes also lack visual effects, this is one of my favorites. The story does have a realistic android in it, but that doesn't need to be an actual robot, of course. Black Mirror, before being bought by Netflix, was on a TV show budget, if not a little higher than that. Visual effects cost a lot of moolah, a bit of green, a smidgen of fool's gold, you know what I'm saying? So, when episodes with concepts that require technology that don't exist, practical effects can work alongside the necessary visual ones. The duality of effects. When Netflix did buy the rights to Black Mirror, the production value did rise quite a bit. It's how they went from only having the modeling capacity of crude 3D guys to hyper-realistic robot dogs. Of course, having a big budget is not always a great thing. That's kind of shown here. The first few episodes had low budgets, but made do and had some of the greatest pieces of television I've ever seen. In the latest season, the production quality is higher, but the stories aren't as enjoyable. And that's a great message to young folks who wish of becoming movie producers and visual effects artists like myself. Your budget doesn't matter as long as you make something that's entertaining to watch, and so your movie can be a $30,000, $3,000, or even $300 budget. I also want to take a brief moment to talk about the individual posters for each episode, starting with the 4th season. They look like actual movie posters, and they really fit the tone of each episode. I just wish we could see what posters for the first 3 seasons would be. My standout favorite is the one for Bandersnatch. It's stupid simple, but it works so well. And you know what? Speaking of Bandersnatch, let's talk about that. Netflix started this new thing called interactive movies. They're similar to those choose-your-own-adventure books and that one video by Markiplier. Up until Bandersnatch, they were used for something Puss in Boots related and Minecraft story mode, so yeah, it was basically a gimmick. But then, Bandersnatch releases. Just the premise itself gets fairly meta, so let's get this clear. It's a choose-your-own-adventure movie about a choose-your-own-adventure video game based on a choose-your-own-adventure book. And yes, this is more of a movie than an episode, and you know what I like to do with movies. Talk about them. Bandersnatch follows Stefan as he tries to adapt a book called Bandersnatch into a game. Trying to tell one cohesive story is a struggle as you guide Stefan into a downward spiral of insanity. He can die, he can learn the truth about his mother's death, he can kill his dad, he can kill his best friend, he can fade into nothing. Okay, a lot of these are about death and stuff, but he can also discover that he's not real and exists in a Netflix movie. That one's especially jarring since this movie takes place in the 80s. He can ask for a sign, and you can give him the white bear symbol. Anything's possible. This might not be the deepest, best written, or visually pleasing episode, but dang it, it's probably my favorite. I was at my guy Riley's house when I saw Bandersnatch for the first time. I had only seen the first episode when I did, and I loved it so much then. That was also the night I learned of Badlands Chug, so maybe positive reinforcement? I don't know. I won't get to the whole web of Bandersnatch, there's just not enough time, but if you want to take a look at the entire map, I'll link it below. And now, for the ranking of the episodes. Yes, you heard me right. Ranking. I'm gonna go from worst to best, including Bandersnatch, so here are my quick takes, and by quick, I do mean quick. Rachel, Jack, and Ashley too. Oh my god. Lord. To sum it up, oh my god, just to sum it up pretty easy peasy, it is a Nickelodeon original. Other people have explained how the episode is flawed in its characters, its story, and the way it ends on a happy note, which, though it's happened before, just feels wrong. This doesn't feel like Black Mirror at all. If you cut the logo at the beginning, I would have never guessed that this came from the Black Mirror production team. It's that hokey. Regardless of how I could go ham, bacon, or pork on this episode for an entire NYDOMEDIA episode, I won't. That's just all I'll say. Striking vipers. The premise is almost like a joke. Now, I'm never that hypercritical, but this just seems like a goof, a gaffe, funny. We all know that gamers can't do that. The resolution they come to at the end is also just plain stupid. This is the only episode I've watched once, and only once. I even watched Rachel, Jack, and Ashley 2 times. Oh my god, how much time have I spent watching Black Mirror? Oh my god. Archangel. That mom sucks. Men Against Fire. It's a widely accepted statement that this episode is just bland. I'm sure if I watched it out of the blue without knowing that it was Black Mirror, I'd just shrug my shoulders and be like, it was alright. Smithereens. The entire time watching this, I didn't feel any connection to any of the characters, even when there was an attempt to do so. The whole Uber kidnapping thing also feels like an easy concept to exploit. The Waldo moment. This was the original dud episode of the Channel 4 run. Nothing about this is that interesting, and Waldo's just plain annoying. I wanna dip him in batter and lay him in the fryer oil. I can name so many better Waldos. Where's Waldo? Waldorf from the Muppets? Even the city Waldo? Maybe not the city Waldo, but the biggest miss with me is just how unlikable he is, when it's obvious he's supposed to be the good guy along with Jamie. Shut Up and Dance. This is the last of the episodes that I didn't really like. After this, it's okay and up. As said before, despite how gross I feel about this episode, it had a troll face, I gotta put it somewhere. Black Museum. This episode is it's odd. The concept, the characters, the twist, they're all just so odd. I was entertained by it, don't get me wrong, enough to watch it twice, but it's just an odd episode. I don't know what else to say, except, apparently, the concept was based on a story called The Pain Addict, written by Penn from the dynamic duo Penn and Teller. Hang the DJ. Dating. What a mysterious thing it is. Now, as many know, I have been trying to decode the system for about 3 years now, and by God, this might just be it. I know that the system existed in this real world like the twist, so, you know what? Okay episode. Sandra, it's San, right? San Junipero? San Junipero. This is probably my most controversial placement, but I thought this episode was just alright. I like it when the episodes, surprise me in ways that just blow me out the water, but I didn't get that with this one. Doesn't mean I didn't like it though. I found enjoyment of it. Playtest. The twist actually made me burst out laughing at how ridiculous it was. So much so that I had to put it at 13. Called Mom. Hated in the nation. As your world run out of bees, build robots, then the robots turn on you. Trope. Really though, this episode is like a buddy cop, so I like it. A long runtime means more viewing pleasures for my head cameras. Crocodile. I have a sweet spot for this episode. This episode was insane on the first watch. It ended up just being a shocking thriller killer, and my favorite way to end anything, a cut to black. The second watch wasn't as exciting, but I still have a good heart about this episode. Also, cue the hamster dance? White Christmas. Hey, it's Christmas time now. And also, I wasn't expecting a Christmas special. With these middle-of-the-list episodes, it's gonna be hard to say much about them, but Christmas time episode pretty good. So point for that. Christmas episode good. St. Nicholas Claus. Funny. USS Callister. I don't know why, but it's Star Trek. Sure, I get how it's Star Trek, but why Star Trek? Nonetheless, I found this one pretty good. Fresh, new, dare I say it, epic bacon. Metalhead, the black and white one. This episode takes a real concept like the robot dogs at Boston Dynamics and takes a normally common trope and makes it fun. This would be higher, however, if there was just more, seeing as this is the shortest episode after all. Nosedive. These next 7 are going to be pretty difficult to rank. Nosedive is a wonderful episode detailing this world where economy and lifestyle are based around their Uber-like rating. The acting in this episode might also be some of my favorite the entire show has got to offer. 15 million merits. This episode might be lower if it wasn't one of the biggest concept punches ever. After just watching the first episode, which was fairly set in reality, this completely goes in the opposite direction, and it's great. The National Anthem. Being the first episode in the series, it has to lay a good groundwork and expectation, which it did do. This episode is sad. Not sad like, oh, I'm so sad, but sad just like, all of the characters are just sad all the time. It's just, it's dark, there's so much gray on the screen. It is England after all. It's gloomy, it's powerful, it's gross, it's all too real, and that's why it's in the top 5. When this first aired, people did question our technological advancements for the future. White Bear. Right from the start, this episode had me confused, but a good confused, and on the edge of your seat situation, per se. After watching further and learning of the true past of our main character, I was in the roof! This episode gets Black Mirror ideas to a science through and through. This is the episode I've watched the most amount of times, besides Bandersnatch. Be Right Back. Holy moly, Be Right Back actually made me feel sorry for a character. It's a truly sad episode, the boohoo kind, and I mean it. And of course, it's got that famed cut to black that I love. I can't even put my finger on why this is so high up, but it is. The entire history of you. Now, I don't love this episode because it has a technology that's actually pretty cool on the surface, or that it has incredible acting on Toby Kebbell and Jodie Whittaker's parts, or even that it's insane plot, or the life-crumbling ending. No, I love it because Bandersnatch. C-section Bandersnatch, just rewind the video. And there we go. Even though I didn't talk much on each episode, each one has something to tell whether that's good or bad. And to conclude, Black Mirror offers so many fresh ideas to the dinner table that it's kind of ridiculous. Even though I have a strong personal and emotional connection to the Muppets, Black Mirror has brought me some great times with friends that I hope to keep for years to come. It was before this new school year had started. As previously said, I was at the Bro Riley's house and we watched Bandersnatch. I had only seen the first episode then, and I just remember how many times I was sitting there and saying, "Dude, I love this," out loud. That was one of the best nights I've ever had. I knew that when I first watched Bandersnatch that this is definitely the style of filmmaking that I want to do. Every aspect that the show has to offer is inspiring, and that's really what NYDOMEDIA is about. Detailing the movies, shows, and more that inspire me to create myself. The Muppets gave me the inspiration to get up and film something, and Black Mirror gives me the creative juice to do something for this channel and my future. Some episodes are gems, sadly some are duds, but that doesn't change the fact that this is a good show. Even though some are gonna flop, it just means that the next story has to be even better. That's where anthology series really shine. Bad episodes don't leave a bad taste in your mouth for an overarching story. I am really excited to see what a Season 6 for Black Mirror is going to provide. After the backlash of Season 5, let's only hope that they take the time to formulate some of the best ideas the show has had yet. Now, why is this show actually called Black Mirror? It's what I've been saying this whole time. What better way to end something than with a cut to black?